Good day, mate. Lilith here. And I'm here to read my diary to you. I'm here in this little greenhouse with these plants here. Got some more for this scenery. Look, it's so nice here. And here's my diary. I don't know if you can see it. It's a picture of me as a mermaid. Yeah, seashells, I drew it. Alright, Melbourne Jail Siren by Lila Jane Sumner. That's me. Dear Diary, my name is Lila Jane Sumner. I am known as the Melbourne Jail Siren because I am a mermaid who lured Australia's legendary Ned Kelly out of the Melbourne jail where he was hung 146 years ago. I lured him to paradise. I love him so much. I wouldn't trade him for the world. I'd never do anything to hurt him. Ned is my true love, my soulmate, my knight in shining armor. Sometimes I have human legs and roam on land by the shore. The Kelly gang are my friends. Ned's brother Dan Kelly is his youngest sibling, but the one he has the closest relationship with. Steve Hart is an animal lover. Joe Byrne, though Irish, speaks fluent Cantonese and has close ties with Chinese farmers. Joe is a member of the gang Ned trusts the most. Our other friend, though not a member of the gang, is Constable Alexander Fitzpatrick. He was one of the Victorian police. Ned and Alexander were friends, but long ago, Alexander spiked Ned's drink and arrested him for drunkenness. Ned later shot Alexander in the wrist, mistaking him for another officer. He apologized. Ned's mom got arrested for bandaging Alexander's wound because Judge Barry is an asshole. He's the same judge who had Ned lynched for killing Constable Thomas Lonigan in self-defense. I swear Alexander got kicked out of the Victorian police for not being evil enough. When Ned was executed, the Victorian police dismembered his body and took parts home as souvenirs. When I heard tales of cops acting like Jeffrey Dahmer, I was appalled. Before I met Ned, I was an aspiring policewoman because I wanted to lock up serial killers. Those creepy cops made me ashamed to ever want a badge. I have friends who are cops, but none of them act like Jeffrey Dahmer. The evil police and the corrupt judge gave me nightmares for months. Ever since I was a little girl, my worst nightmare was my boyfriend being butchered, and the demon who would chase me through the supermarket, pointing at red meat, pretending it's human flesh, would say, "That's who you have a crush on," or "You're a widow." Tell me this is a random coincidence. The demon's name was Victoria. Ned Kelly was executed under Queen Victoria's rule. As a teenager, I always knew there was something wrong with white powdered wigs, as in the one Judge Barry wore. I knew they had something to do with an evil fascist. The first time I ever saw Judge Barry, I knew what he did. I punched him in the mug. "I hate what he did to my husband," I smacked off his wig. "He was only 25. That's way too young to die." I told Ned Kelly, "If I was there when you were lynched, I'd gouge out my eyes. I can't even stand when people play hangman." My fascination with the land down under started 5 years ago. It all started with the crocodile hunter. When I was a wee lass, I called Steve Irwin the guy who messes with crocs. I thought he was cute, sweet, and loved his voice. I was jealous of Terry. Steve, Terry, and I share the values of conservation. We love animals. I was never a huge TV watcher, but Animal Planet was always my favorite channel. Other shows I liked on Animal Planet were The Planet's Funniest Animals and The Most Extreme. I was a 9-year-old girl in 4th grade. One afternoon, I watched sharks on Animal Planet. I sat on the carpet living room floor. Mom came in whimpering, "Did they mention Steve Irwin at all?" "No. Why?" "He got killed." "How did he die?" Dad explained. "He was swimming and a stingray pierced his heart." The next morning I cried in school. "Lil, do you work?" my best friend Hope ordered sternly. Did they mention Steve Irwin at all? He got killed. So what? People get killed all the time. You didn't know him. I dreamed of meeting him at Australia Zoo one day. I burst into tears, pumped my fists in the air. That stupid stingray! Now I know that Steve Irwin would not appreciate people hunting down stingrays and honor him. Many stingrays were slaughtered because of his death, but I support stingray conservation on Twitter. Later I discovered Crocodile Dundee was based on a real bloke. His name was Rod Ansell. I read his book, To Fight the Wild, a true story of his survival in the outback by himself, living by his wits. Then I read Outback Heart by his ex-wife, Joanne Van Oss. Rod was depicted as abusive to every woman he ever slept with and high on every drug imaginable. His meth-caused psychosis led him to the delusion that Freemasons were holding his sons in their houses kidnapped and about to murder them. Rod went on a rampage with a gun, shooting every man he saw. The police showed up Sergeant Glenn Hewitson and Constable Jamie O'Brien. Rod shot Hewitson, who died at the hospital. Glenn Hewitson lives through his widow Lisa and their children Joey and Ruby. On the spot, O'Brien shot Ansell a million times. Rod fell dead as Swiss cheese. Sergeant Hewitson was my role model and the reason I wanted to be a cop. Hewitson was kind to everyone. He was a white man who hung out with Aborigines. Aborigines called him Jappoli, meaning big fish, out of love for him. Something Hewitson and I have in common is our favorite animal is a fish. He talked an armed psycho into putting down his weapons, stopping him from blowing up a bus full of tourists. He stopped a man with a billy of boiling water, accidentally pouring it on himself. Poor Hewitson had to go to the hospital. Must have been painful. They built Glenn Hewitson National Park in honor him. I love to swim in the lake with the waterfall. I used to want to marry Hewitson, but now I'm perfectly happy being Ned Kelly's wife. There are countless reasons why I say Ned Kelly is sweet. He cared for his pregnant mother when he dropped out of school because of his father's death. He saved a little boy, Richard Sheldon, from drowning. Richard was on his way to school when he dropped his hat in the river. The only other person there was Ned. He watched Richard jump in the river to fetch his hat and began to drown. Ned dove in and carried the boy to shore, but he was strong from working on the farm. Richard's parents adorned Ned with a green sash with gold tassels, the colors of Ireland. They called Ned a hero. He burst with pride. When Ned and I first met, he had me touch his green sash. Excuse me. I could feel his heart pounding through it. Are you okay? I asked. Yeah. It was just love at first sight. Ned freed imprisoned families with children. He seldom got angry when people messed with him. When he wore his knight's armor, bleeding to death in a shootout by a burning hotel, he risked his life to save the rest of his gang. He saved horses from their abusers. He was angry at the Victorian police for shooting parrots for fun. He's an animal lover like me. Ned was not racist, despite the fact most people around him were. Europeans who settled in Australia had two classes, squatters, the rich folk, and selectors, the poor folk, like the Kelly family. Squatters owned farms. Selectors picked a piece of the land for their family to farm on. Most squatters had Aborigines and Chinese farmers working for them. Most selectors wanted white Australia. It's pretty obnoxious to want white Australia when he just came from Europe taking the land from native people. Though a selector, Ned was not a racist. Aborigines taught him how to survive in the bush. They even made a legend of him, as they did no other white man. Whatever ethnicity, race, or nationality you were born does not affect who you are as a person. What matters is, are you nice? Are you mean? Are you polite? Are you rude? Are you smart? Are you good at what you're trying to do? That's what really matters at the end of the day. I'm a mix of everything. I was born in the United States. I'm English, Scottish, French, Russian, German, Black, and Cherokee. But it doesn't matter. I have 3 siblings and they're nothing like me, despite the fact we all have the same genetic makeup. Ned says it's fine to be rich as long as you give to the poor. He gave to the poor despite being dirt poor himself. I am also very passionate about feeding the hungry. Every week I buy cans of food or boxes of ramen and donate it to the church to feed homeless people. I pray for everyone I love every day, especially Ned Kelly. I am an Orthodox Christian. My patron saint is Mary of Egypt. My whole family was baptized together. On the car ride there, I cried tears of joy. Yours, Lilith. Now, for the record, I know that's a diary that I wrote a couple days ago, but I wasn't on YouTube then because I was sick. I threw up. I puked my guts out, and then I got better. And I was like watching Tosh Peterson with Ned and watching mermaid videos, having a blast. And Mom baked some homemade cookies. I love when she does that. She does that a lot. That's a new hobby she picked up in 2026, and I love it. I'm probably going to get fat off it, but let's hope I don't get fat. But I'm just saying her cookies are delicious. But this morning I apologized to Ned for hanging out with Fitzpatrick because, see, I always knew Victorian police were corrupt and evil, but I thought Fitzpatrick was an exception. I thought Fitzpatrick was a nice bloke, but I was wrong. Fitzpatrick's a fucking asshole too. If it wasn't for Fitzpatrick, Ned Kelly probably wouldn't have gotten lynched. And see, it all started, Ned Kelly and Fitzpatrick were partying all night, and it was awesome, and they were friends, but then Fitzpatrick spiked Ned's drink and then arrested him for drunkenness. Like, what? How could you spiked his drink? Huh? You gonna arrest him for drunkenness now? Like, you made him drunk. How do you arrest him for drunkenness? So then Ned escaped jail, and then creepy ass Constable Thomas Lonigan grabbed Ned Kelly's testicles. Ugh! Men who molest their men are so disgusting. And then Lonigan showed up another day trying to kill Ned. That's fucking disgusting. And, so of course, when Ned heard the gunshots that he was about to get shot, of course he shot back. So Ned killed Lonigan in self-defense. And the other 2 policemen who... Scanlon and Kennedy, who were also out there trying to kill Ned out of grossness. But McIntyre, unfortunately, escaped. Okay, maybe I don't know anything about McIntyre. I'm not going to say unfortunately. But that's the only one who escaped. And they have a fucking memorial to the stupid police. This tall-ass grave light. They don't deserve that shit. They molested Ned and tried to kill him, and Ned killed them in self-defense. And even worse, Judge Barry had Ned hung for killing in self-defense. Ned was only 25 years old. Can you believe that? That's way too young to die. That's younger than me. I'm 29. I'm way too young to die. I mean, even if he was an old man, it would still be gross, but just killing young... Ugh, gross. And Judge Barry, his real name's Sir Redmond Barry, but I am not calling someone who killed my husband a red berry. I'm not. Ew, gross. I'd rather call him the Pig in the Wig. That's what I call him all the time. When I'm walking around talking to Dad, I call Judge Barry the Pig in the Wig. He wears this fucking wig. He looks like an ugly-ass woman. Okay? It looks like a fucking women's hairstyle. He looks like an ugly old woman. and he killed my husband. Worse than looking like an ugly old woman. Way worse. If he was a nice person and he looked like an ugly old woman, whatever. But he killed my husband for killing in self-defense. Okay. And one time I was thinking about when Judge Barry died. He died of natural causes a week later after he hung poor Ned. And I was thinking, when Judge Barry died, what if they didn't bury him or have a funeral or everything? They just threw him in the trash. That's funny. I wish they just threw Judge Barry in the trash. But anyway, I don't hang out with Fitzpatrick anymore. He's the only squatter I ever hung out with. And boy, do I regret it. I did not associate with Victorian police, squatters, no more. They're evil. Yeah. They show up, say the Jesus prayer, and I pray for Ned Kelly every day. And Ned Kelly's in the afterlife. Well, he's with me in his afterlife. I'm alive, but Ned Kelly's ghost is with me. And we're together. And Ned Kelly's happy now. God bless Ned Kelly.